now I'd like to introduce to you a very special guest, Chair Brenda Mallory. Chair Mallory was confirmed by the United States Senate in April and sworn in as the 12th Chair of Council on Environmental Quality. She is the first African American to serve in this position. And as chair, she advises President Biden on environmental and natural resource policies that improve, preserve, and protect public health and the environment for U.S. communities. She is focused particularly on addressing the environmental justice and climate change challenges the U.S. will face while advancing opportunities for job growth and economic development. I know that the members of our Water Equity Commission will be very interested in following along this topic as well. Chair Mallory grew up the oldest of 4 children in a working class community in Waterbury, Connecticut. She has dedicated her life to public service, serving in a number of senior roles at the EPA and CAQ. Chair Mallory, it's an honor to have you joining us at the conference this morning. We are very much looking forward to your remarks.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome, Mayor Sendzik. And thank you to all the mayors for your leadership on climate change and environmental protection. 18 years ago, then Chicago Mayor Richard M. Daley helped to found the Great Lakes and St. Lawrence Cities Initiative for one simple reason. The Great Lakes and St. Lawrence rivers support and drive the economic prosperity of a significant region spanning 2 nations, 15 states, and 2 Canadian provinces. Building on the success of this organization, the Mississippi River Cities and Towns Initiative gave a formal structure to our inland coast. Together, your members recognize that there is a need to work together when it comes to big, hard things like climate change, nutrient management, PFAS, transportation, agriculture, and the recreational economy. You all know that local government acting in chorus can make life along our great waters better for everyone. Climate change is currently and radically affecting the Great Lakes, St. Lawrence, and Mississippi River watersheds, your environment, and your economies. Of course, I'm telling you something you already know. That's why you're here. Recognizing the existential crisis posed by climate change, President Biden has directed an all-hands-on-deck approach across the federal government. Many of his first actions as president were to combat the climate crisis, including an early executive order that drove historic action on climate change. The American Rescue Plan, which he signed into law in March, included critical funding to states and localities to address the impacts of COVID-19, including to address health disparities in communities driven by pollution. The bipartisan infrastructure deal, which the president invested his personal capital in securing, makes the largest investment in clean drinking water and wastewater infrastructure in history, makes the largest investment in clean energy transmission and electric vehicle infrastructure in history, electrifies thousands of school and transit buses across the country, and creates a new grid deployment authority to build a clean 21st century electric grid. And finally, the budget reconciliation package will make sure that, as envisioned in the president's agenda, we build back better, cleaner, greener, and with more resilience than ever before. Importantly, we know that we must incorporate equity for overburdened and underserved communities in our climate policies. In July, the White House fulfilled a key step of President Biden's historic environmental justice commitments by releasing the Justice 40 interim guidance. This guidance lays the foundation for how federal agencies can immediately leverage existing resources to reach the goal of directing 40% of the overall benefits from federal climate, clean energy, and environmental investments to disadvantaged communities. The Justice 40 initiative has the potential to deliver tangible, positive benefits to communities. This guidance also sets the standard for how we can uniformly track the progress agencies are making and creates accountability in the process for reaching this goal. The environmental justice work is just one component of President Biden's whole of government approach to addressing climate change. In May, President Biden launched another program aligned with the work of the Mississippi River Cities and Towns Initiative. He announced the America the Beautiful Initiative, a locally led, nationally scaled effort to conserve and restore at least 30% of our nation's lands and waters by 2030. As we have found during the COVID-19 pandemic, the great outdoors provide safety and respite, recreation, and health. Your communities know this. It's why you live near these great lakes and rivers. Conserving and restoring the lands and waters that support and sustain us is an important aspect to addressing both climate change and environmental injustice. Never before has a president outlined a vision of this kind, and certainly not this early in an administration. We need a collective, all hands on deck national effort to conserve and restore the lands and waters upon which we all depend. We need to build on the work already happening at the state and local level, like the work you all are doing to conserve and create open space where people can connect to nature and where nature can connect to people. That is what the America the Beautiful effort is, and what President Biden's vision calls for. Thank you for your work to combat the climate crisis, to protect and restore the Great Lakes, the St. Lawrence, and the Mississippi River, to create livable and inclusive communities for all. I know we will work closely on many of our shared essential priorities. I will close with this. I had the distinct privilege to visit the Great Lakes region last week. I took a walking tour of Detroit and met with local community groups in Dearborn, Michigan. And next week, I will participate in a climate and equity roundtable with folks from the Gulf Coast. Whenever I get a chance to visit with communities, I am reminded why I do this work. These communities and the regions are made up of everyday people who are passionate about the places they call home and are creating healthy, vibrant, livable communities for themselves and their neighbors. They are America the Beautiful. With that spirit, which I know you share, the future is bright for your cities and towns. They are worth investing in, and President Biden is working to do just that. Thank you for inviting me today, and have a great annual meeting.
Thank you, Chair Mallory, for those wonderful remarks. We look forward to partnering with you and the administration as we tackle many of the important environmental issues that we face.